What if God isn't a being somewhere outside of you? What if God is being itself? The Upanishads offer us a beautiful way of contemplating the divine through three words: Sat, Chit, Amanda. Ananda. Being, consciousness, bliss. Sat means being or existence. Before we ask what something is, we can ask a simpler question: does it exist? Everything we encounter appears to depend upon something else. We are born, things are created, stars are formed, bodies change, even civilizations rise and fall. But the Upanishadic question goes deeper. What is the ultimate ground of existence? Not merely being among other beings, but being itself. That is Sat. Then comes Chit, consciousness. You don't merely exist, you know that you exist. There's an awareness within you that can step back and observe your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, even your sense of identity. You can notice thoughts, you can notice your thoughts. Perhaps you are not identical to every thought that passes through your mind. You can notice your thoughts, and if you can notice your thoughts, perhaps you are not identical to every thought that passes through your mind. So the question becomes, what is this awareness? Where does consciousness come from? Is consciousness something the universe accidentally produced? Or is consciousness somehow woven into the very fabric of reality? The Upanishads invite us to contemplate the possibility that consciousness isn't merely something we have, it may be something reality is. And then we come to Ananda, usually translated as bliss. But don't think of bliss as simply being happy all the time. Ananda is closer to fullness, wholeness, a profound sense that nothing essential is missing. Think about how much of our lives is spent trying to become complete. If I just had more money, if I found the right person, if people understand me, if I accomplish this, if I become that, then I'll finally be okay. But what if the deepest part of you isn't waiting to become complete? What if it is already whole? Then perhaps spiritual awakening isn't about acquiring something you don't possess. Perhaps it is about removing what prevents you from recognizing what is already there. Sat, I am. Chit, I am aware. Ananda, and beneath all the grasping, resisting, fearing, and starving, there is a possibility of profound fullness. Now here's where the Upanishadic vision becomes really radical. It asks us to examine relationship between Atman, the deepest self, and Brahman, ultimate reality. What if the deepest self isn't ultimately separate from the ground of existence? What if this little I we normally defend the personality, the history, the opinions, the fears, isn't the whole of who we are. Maybe it's discovering what yourself actually means. And this gives us another way to think about the divine. Instead of imagining God as simply God over here and me over here, perhaps we can contemplate being expressing itself as me. Consciousness becoming conscious of itself through me. And bliss appearing when the illusion of separation begins to lessen. That doesn't mean the ego becomes God. It means we begin to question whether the ego was ever the deepest thing we were. So perhaps the spiritual journey isn't how do I get closer to God? Maybe it is what is preventing me from recognizing the divine reality that is already here. Sat, being, chit, consciousness, Ananda, become aware. Ananda, bliss. 3 words, 1 invitation. Become aware, and discover what remains when you stop believing that you are incomplete.